Excellent.
So.
Now we need you to define guided imagery.
Okay. Guided imagery is a kind of directed daydreaming that's where usually a voice, a soothing voice, and music, using a lot of images, a lot of sensory material, a lot of very imaginal, sensory perceptual stuff, is sort of framed into a little story with background music in such a way that people can sort of absorb it, not here, but here. So you're fighting hideous images that are embedded in the brain in the most sticky way. You're fighting those with healing images that are going to the exact same place in the brain. And it works. We have studies at Duke, at Durham VA Hospital, at Scripps Hospital, at the Phoenix VA, and at the Brecksville VA that show that we get the same results, just asking people to listen to guided imagery 5 times a week, maybe 20, 30 minutes a day, as you get with 12 weeks of prolonged exposure therapy, which is a very expensive, highly trained, specialized kind of therapy that most people won't go to anyway.
This is good news.
It's very exciting. I was just talking. I've been presenting these results to as many people as I can find because it's really important. I mean, we've got these young men and these older National Guards people are just, and young women. 10% now are women who are coming back from active duty with with these symptoms. But what we're finding is that people need something now. As time goes by, even for people who are post-deployment, who are back for good, there are going to be symptoms popping for the next 3, 4, 5 years. We actually see new symptoms from World War II vets after they've had open heart surgery.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. World War II vets who saw the movie Saving Private Ryan.
Yes.
That was astounding.
Yes.
Yes. They had buried it so deeply,
Yeah.
but seeing that movie just brought it all up as though it were happening to them right now.
Yes. But there are wonderful techniques, and interestingly enough, I had a very special friend, an 84-year-old World War II vet, who saw all sorts of action in Anzio, and he had some open heart surgery. It kicked loose all of this post-traumatic stress. He was in a foxhole again. He was reliving and having nightmares of a time when he actually stabbed a young German soldier with a machine gun on a beach. I mean, and he kept reliving this stiletto of his going into this very vulnerable kid's neck. And we use some of these new techniques. I used a technique called nightmare reprocessing that was developed at the Brecksville VA. It's an imagery-based therapy. It's simple, no-brainer. I mean, any idiot can teach somebody to do this. And when my friend called me, he said, "I can't sleep. You have to come over. You have to do something now." I said, "I've got this technique. I wrote it up. We can try it. I've never done it as a therapist myself because it was invented after I quit. But we can try it. Read the 4 pages. See if you can stand it." He read the 4 pages. He said, "Let's go." So we did this very mindless protocol. And now I'm telling you, as a therapist, I could not help people get rid of repeating nightmares for 3 years. One night.
Wow.
Done. I mean, now that was unusual. What my friend who had developed the technique said was, if they do their homework in 3 weeks, that nightmare will be done. And he got it in one night.
This is extraordinary.
It is extraordinary. It's very exciting stuff.
Absolutely. And there are specific tapes to help specific symptoms, yes?
Well, the target conditions, like
the target conditions.
Like we have a post-traumatic stress tape that's very intense, and what we're discovering with some of these young troops coming back from Iraq and Afghanistan is they don't even need that sort of heavy duty, super intense, deep dish guided imagery. If they do simple self-regulation, we have something called stress hardiness exercises, much less emotionally evocative. It does just fine for their symptoms. So we're having great results. We started out, we developed these specific post-traumatic stress imagery methods at the Brecksville VA in Ohio. And these were with Vietnam vets. What we found was it worked well for Vietnam vets, it worked well for World War II vets, for you name it. Worked best for women who had long-standing incest or sexual assault trauma in their background. It worked best for them as adults.
Wow.
And then that's when I started realizing it really doesn't matter what generated the trauma. The symptoms have to be handled by relearning how to self-regulate and sort of incorporate, get your neurological system back on manual is basically what you're doing. Instead of
Nicely
going,
said.
Yeah, and because otherwise you're pinging back and forth, between these intense feelings and these stoned, dissociated experiences. And you'll just go back and forth. Your nervous system gets more and more irritated and sensitized, which is why the symptoms get worse. But if you teach somebody even simple breathing or meditation or imagery, which is the easiest thing to do of all, what they're doing is every time they put that headset on, they're putting their system back in charge on manual.
Wow.
Yeah, it's very exciting. And you see it with people. I mean, first of all, people like to hear the explanation. It's very reassuring for people. I was surprised, actually. The most feedback I've gotten from this book has been people writing saying, I'm not crazy. You explained what has been going on, and I'm not crazy. That's really huge. So people need a cognitive explanation of what this thing is and that they're not crazy. But then they need tools, and they exist. And they can do stuff like what I do, which is the guided imagery, but even doing simple exercise or really doing body work or getting massage. And there's so many ways you can self-regulate your body back into some state of calmness.